Okay.
Ready to dance?
Yeah.
Well, welcome to 2016. Pretty excited to get going, primarily because defensively we were much improved. Offensively, we're going to be a little work in progress for a while because of unavailabilities in our offensive line, but there's some certain things about our offense that are outstanding and certain things about our offense that are question mark. But all of our defense, from beginning to end, from inside to outside, from the front to the back, is way improved, and I'm very excited to watch our guys play every game, not only the opener on Saturday, but I think fans will watch a very much improved ISU defense, simply the best defense we've had since we've been here. Fast, with good depth, good size, great ability at linebacker, outstanding recognition at safety, a little inexperienced at corner, and that'll take care of itself.
What are the good things about the offense? What are the question marks?
Well, the good things about the offense are the return of Josh Cook, Kyle Williams, who've played a lot of football for us, along with Thomas Fazorka in the front, and of course Skylar Phillips is one of the premier offensive linemen we've ever coached, and one of the best ever at Idaho State. The question mark is the other 7 positions. Tanner's only started 3 games, 2 of which he finished. The third one is last time out. He only didn't make it to the end of the first quarter. Ja'Cory Ford's played a lot of football for us. He's not been a starter. He brings a great explosiveness to our running back package. We have 2 young running backs. One's a sophomore and one's a freshman that'll get a lot of time, along with true freshman Michael Dean on Saturday. So, and then of course we have a great legacy here at wide receiver, and we want to continue our great growth and legacy at wide receiver. We lost 2 starters in the offseason, 1 to graduation and 1 to academics, and that means that only Kyle comes back. But Hagan Graves has proven he can be a get-up-and-going player every down. Excuse me.
I was going to ask you about Michael Dean and whether you're going to redshirt him or use him, but it sounds like you're going to use him.
No, he's going to play. We'll probably play 7 or 8 true freshmen. Excuse me. On Saturday, we're looking at probably Leo Tu'ulu in the offensive line. We'll play another true freshman offensive lineman. We'll play a 2 true freshmen at corner, and possibly a true freshman at wide receiver. So a couple true freshmen will see action for the very first time, along with Dallin Collins, who will start at center in his first college game after come off his 2-year mission. So, in our offensive front, the way things stand today, we'd start 2 seniors, 2 sophomores, and a freshman. Thanks to
Are you planning on redshirting anybody at this time?
Oh yeah, there's a couple guys that are redshirt. A couple of true freshmen are being redshirted at this time. We'd like to be able to hold Cody Graves, a young sophomore linebacker who burned his redshirt last year, primarily playing on kick teams. So at this time, we'd probably redshirt Cody Graves. Would be the older guy that we'd try to redshirt hold, because he's not a starting linebacker for us, and that starting linebacker core can play some. And there's quality of depth behind those guys, and so our kick team units will be much improved because we have a lot more soldier-type guys on our kick units. It should be very, very evident on Saturday. Maybe the biggest change you'll notice in our entire program on Saturday will be the fact that we're not roll punting. So we'll static punt or pro punt with Sean Cheney, who's an elder sophomore, kicking the ball, and I'm excited to watch Sean. Sean's had an outstanding camp.
Mike, what was the thinking behind going to a quote-unquote traditional punt this year?
We had a hard time in the spring. Tommy Jewell, we had originally recruited to be our roll punter. He's risen to be in the battle for the backup quarterback spot, and he was unable to put as much time into roll punting as we had hoped he was able to do. Zach Johnson returns our roll punter from last season, and Zach was suffering from an off-season surgery that was pretty debilitating. So Sean gives us the best chance at punter right now to get the ball down the field. You know, it's been a slowly diminishing return in roll punt, where we've lost a little yardage every single year since C.J. Reyes graduated. So the nature of the fields, because the field turf and sprint turf, the ball doesn't bounce as much as it used to on old AstroTurf. So we weren't getting the same play, the same type of rugby bounce that you needed. The ball seems to die in that roll punt. So we're going to boom punt and try to hit the speaker every time.
Did you focus more on special teams this fall and the spring than compared to last year?
No, I think we've put about the same amount of time. Just we have better weapons. It's like playing darts. Instead of using those little darts now, we're using knives. So we got better guys to. I just think the width and depth of our program is going to be evident in every game this season, as opposed to years past where we've never had quality depth. One year we had it, it was because we had such an influx of junior college players in 214. And now I feel like we finally, as a program, we're at 63 full scholarships. We've got 72 guys on aid. We've got 85 guys on the team, all of whom can really, really play. In fact, there's 5 or 6 walk-ons right now in this program that are on their way to full scholarships next season. That's how good I feel about our young guys in our program. So this is the best program we've had, physically speaking, in our 6th year.
You mentioned the defense and that you think this is the best you've seen it. I mean, how much of that is Mario and Manu back healthy?
Well, it's all of that. It's Mario Jenkins was one of the outstanding freshmen in the country, and now he'll be one of the outstanding redshirt juniors in the country. Tyson Manu has just been a steady player for us in safety. He's physical, strong, fast, gets the ball, accelerates to a tackle, and his return will buoy us very well. But there was another guy that missed all of last season, and that was Nico Taylor, who was scheduled to be a starting defensive tackle for us, who was failed by academic ineligibility last year in May, and he missed the entire season. So unfortunately for us, he stayed inside the program. Going into his senior year, he will be a starter on Saturday, and hopefully he'll get 2 years of play out of one season. And then, of course, John Raheem returns, and Blake Jefferson's played a little bit. Micah Breland's move from linebacker to defensive end has been very good for us, in spite of the fact that we have lost Rasheed Williams for the season. And of course, in our offensive front, we're missing a lot of starters yet as guys kind of return to action and kind of get going again. So a little thin in our offensive line, but very good in our defensive line, and very good in our defensive front, of course, led by Mario Jenkins. Hayden Stout, outstanding linebacker, and of course in the back end led by Tyson Manu.
Moving through fall camp, I mean, what have you seen from Mario and Manu? I mean, any rust? Are they ready to go? What have you seen?
No, ready to go.
Yeah.
Both guys did a great job in the rehab. Both guys feel great. Both guys play great. We've had to have them ease off a little bit because they're running around whacking everybody all the time. But no, it's just great to have those guys because they're older, veteran guys that have played on good teams and know how to win.
You mentioned John Raheem. How prepared is he?
Really, well, he's had the best game. He's lost quite a bit of weight. He's effective and efficient, even though he missed all spring. He's been a dominant player, along with Nico Taylor in the interior part of our defensive line.
Mike, what's been the difference in Tanner this year that you've seen from, let's say, last year, spring ball, fall camp?
Mark Tanner's just been more calm. He has a quicker answer to the questions, to all the stimulus he gets presented with. He has a faster answer to it. He's not up to speed yet. He's not. He's only his 3rd year. So as we saw with Justin Arias, it takes a while. And Justin Arias had his best year as a 4th year player in our program. There's still a lot of learning that Tanner's got to go through, but boy, is he closer than he was at any time last year. And we're better at quarterback now than we've been, obviously, since Justin played for us, because the quarterbacks know the answers to the questions faster. I'm concerned about our backup quarterbacks. Those guys are lagging. They are lagging. They are way behind. So it's a hellacious drop off, starter to backup, and the backup situation is still shared by 2 guys. So we're not biting our nails over it, but those 2 guys got to get going.
How heavily will you rely on your defense while the offense tries to?
Not at all. I think both sides handle their own business. Offensively, we've established that we're a wide open, go fast team that can now be a little more multifaceted. And defensively, we have to be able to play in all situations, everybody, no matter what the situation exists. We have to be able to play when we're backed up, and have to be able to play after a turnover, and have to play after sub-consequential kicking performance. So, defensively, we kind of have an idea about what our task is and how we handle our task without a lot of emotional letdown when we go on the field.
Mike, can you tell us about Simon Frazier? I know they were 0 for the season last year, but they had 3 games where they lost by 6 points or less, so they can be competitive at times.
Well, I think fans will find out when they look at them on the field, they're pretty. They got big linebackers. They got a really big running back. They've got a good-looking offensive line. The quarterback's a 6'4" kid. They've got good-looking wideouts and good-looking corners and defensive backs. Football's second nature to them, or first nature, I guess I'd say. It's not something those kids grow up playing every single day. You know, they're not playing Xbox and PlayStation. They're not living it on ESPN or all the other networks. And so football is a game that they have to be taught in Canada, throughout the college systems in Canada. And sometimes they lag a little bit behind in just their ability to be able to instantly deploy themselves against what they're presented with, whether it be on offense or defense. And that has been the biggest problem that Simon Fraser has had over the years, is that because they're in a foreign country, American football is not something that they grow up chewing on every single day. So there's a little bit of familiarity that lags them behind, but they're pretty and they're big and they can play. And a lot of these guys will play on ESPN2 for years to come in the CFL.
Sure.
So I think it's a really good challenge for us. They're a better looking team than we faced in 14 when we played Chevron State. In Chevron State, we only beat them 34-29. It was a 5-point win. So these guys are pretty. They've got some experienced players. Even though we tore them apart last time we played down here, a lot of those guys are back and will play against us again here 2 years later.
So you mentioned tore them apart, 770 yards and 66 points. Safe to say that's maybe a high expectation or the higher end of the expectation?
Well, I'll tell you what, we've watched a lot of that video. We played really well that day, you know, and I think it was a harbinger for how good our season was going to be that year. I don't know if we can replicate that because we played very exceptional that day. I wish we would have played that well against Eastern or against Montana or Montana State in those two games that year. But I just think that they're much improved, and we're wary of them. They're athletic. They have got a lot of confidence. Their head coach is in his second year as a head coach. I'm sure he learned a lot from last year's narrow losses that they had. And we expect a totally different program, a totally different package from Simon Fraser this Saturday.
Is there a result on Saturday that would indicate success or just development? Is that what you're looking for?
Well, obviously, we want to win. And we want to find a way to win. Whether it's by 1 point or 100 points, I don't really care. And we want to find a way to play effectively and efficiently. We're the least penalized team over the last 5 years in the Big Sky Conference. We've got to make sure that we continue that trend, not be a team that beats itself. And if we don't beat ourselves and don't knock things, you know, don't drop a lot of passes and screw up our opportunities when they're presented, then I think we'll be okay. And I'll say that about every single team we play against this year. However, obviously we can be our own worst enemy real quickly if we get blinded by the bright lights and opening day jitters, especially on offense, where we'll start so many new guys.
Go ahead. Any unavailabilities for Saturday?
Oh yeah, of course. Probably about 6-7 guys that are frontline guys. We'll play particularly on offensive line. Brian Finney-Onganofo not yet begun to practice. Chase Collins won't be available. Cody Abbott won't be available. So, and that's a great concern because that's 3 starters that were penciled in on the offensive line that are not going to be available. So we're going to be playing new guys in those spots, and backups. The backups behind them are probably true freshmen. So that's a huge concern. Of course, Rashid we won't talk about for the whole season. Defensively, he's the only guy really that's unavailable. But offensively, we're a little wounded. Of course, we lost Chris Reynolds for the season right after he had just put a cap on a tremendous fall camp as a starting X receiver. So we've not yet decided who's going to start at X. Well, that'll be a game time decision for us at the X receiver. But the Z receiver spot will be Hagen Graves, who's played quite a bit of football for us, and of course the great Kyle Williams, who's just had a phenomenal career for us as a slot.
Do you have any idea when those 3 linemen will be back?
Well, Brian will start practicing pretty soon. Chase has not begun to practice yet, and neither has Cody Abbott. So those guys' availability throughout the season is still way in the distant future. Speaking of Kyle Williams.
You talk about depth, you talk about how good your defense is. Fans are going to know, how does this translate on the field? How does this translate to wins?
I think we'll close to the ball faster. I think you'll see more multiple man tackles. You'll see a defense that doesn't get frazzled and afraid and doesn't give up cheap points unless we get tricked. You know, we've made a fundamental change in our defense from a 3-4 to a 4-3. We're more comfortable playing it. We're more comfortable coaching it. It seems like we're more comfortable playing it as a team. Our guys played a lot of 4-3 in high school rather than 3-4. And so rather than try to identify that one guy that could play that weak side outside linebacker spot like we found with Austin Graves, who's just a great football player for us, we've been able to play, with down 4-3 and supplement our defensive line with more outside linebacker type guys that can play defensive end and push the pocket and push the edge. One of those guys is Drew Sharkey, who's entered his 5th year as a senior and is a go-to guy now on our defensive line. Sometimes the bell rings late for guys, and for Shark, that's been his case.
Mike, with your improvements in personnel and special teams, how will that affect your punt return game this year?
I have no idea, Jerry. In fact, I doubt whether we'll return punts again on Saturday, because Hagen Graves is back returning kicks, and I don't want to see that guy get banged up as limited as we are experience-wise at wide receiver. So catch the ball, maintain possession, let the offense drive the ball down the field. I don't care how many times we get booed. It's a sore subject for me. Our fans need to know what's going on. We're back there in punt return. One of our most dynamic players is back there catching the ball. That's his job. We'll also put back Tucker Louie McGee back there, who's been in the program for quite a while and had an outstanding camp, and he can also catch the ball back there. But primarily, our job in punt return is maintain possession, give the ball to the offense, and let's go play football.
One more question.
Yo.
After 2014, you guys did so well down to your last year. What do you want to tell the fans about this season and to come out to Holt to watch this team?
Well, last year our season was decimated by one event, the kickoff return by Portland State. I think we'll cover kicks a hell of a lot better than we did last year at any time. And if I was a fan, obviously I'd want to see one of the most explosive teams in the conference over the last 5 years. I'd want to see a team that can move the ball through the air and on the ground. I also want to see a team that's greatly improved in defense, not just in terms of performance, but in a line and how we play, the enthusiasm by which we play. By nature, the return of Mario Jenkins and Tyson Manu has made us a much more vocal and fun football team to watch.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Mike.
See you guys Saturday.